There's a name whispered through the gilded halls of Hollywood history. A name that once lit up the silver screen brighter than 1,000 spotlights. Gloria Swanson. To some, she was the queen of silent film. To others, she was Norma Desmond, a faded star who, in one unforgettable moment, stepped back into the limelight with a vengeance. But behind that face, behind those eyes that had seen the rise of empires and the collapse of careers, lay a story. One of laughter, heartbreak, audacity, and the kind of comeback that makes Hollywood, well, Hollywood. This is not just a tale of fame. It's the story of a woman who refused to be forgotten. Gloria May Josephine Swanson was born in 1899 in Chicago, Illinois. Chicago was rough then. Gritty streets, immigrant families hustling for survival, the hum of factories filling the air. It was hardly the setting where you'd imagine a Hollywood goddess being born. Her parents weren't in the business. They weren't moguls or stage performers. Her father was a soldier, disciplined, strict. Her mother, practical, the kind of woman who thought acting was a frivolous hobby, not a career. But Gloria, she was different from the start. Bright, curious, a dreamer, and maybe just a little stubborn. The kind of stubborn that makes you either impossible to deal with or destined for greatness. With Gloria, it turned out to be both. She had no roadmap to stardom, no famous relatives to open doors for her, just sheer willpower and a face the camera adored. And her journey into film was almost accidental. A visit to a studio, a glimpse of the magic, and suddenly she was caught up in a world of costumes, lights, and possibility. And when that camera first turned toward her, something happened. Something unteachable. She didn't just act, she commanded. She gave silent film what it desperately needed, an expressive soul. Hollywood had found its rising star. Music shifts, slightly darker undertone. But every star knows, the brighter the flame, the sharper the shadows. And for Gloria, those shadows were waiting. Hollywood in the 1920s wasn't just a business, it was a kingdom. And Gloria Swanson, she wasn't just a star, she was royalty. She commanded the screen with grace, with fire. Men adored her, women wanted to be her. She wasn't acting, she was living larger than life. And oh, how the world ate it up. At her peak, Gloria earned the kind of money that makes today's headlines look modest. By the mid-1920s, she was one of the highest paid people, not just in Hollywood, but anywhere. Imagine this. At a time when the average American family scraped by on less than $2,000 a year, Gloria Swanson was making $10,000 a week. A week! That wasn't just stardom. That was empire building. And build she did. Gloria didn't simply buy houses. She bought mansions. She didn't just wear dresses. She wore creations by the world's top designers. She was a fashion icon before the word even existed. Hollywood had its first true diva. But here's the thing about fame. It's intoxicating. It whispers in your ear, makes promises it can't keep. And Gloria, like so many, believed she could ride the wave forever. Then, the world changed. A year that altered Hollywood forever. The Jazz Singer premiered, the first talkie. Audiences were stunned. Actors could speak, stories had voices, cinema itself had evolved overnight. For some stars, this was thrilling. For others, it was terrifying. And for many of Hollywood's silent gods and goddesses, it was the beginning of the end. Gloria tried to make the leap. She wasn't afraid of sound. Her voice was fine. But her image, that's where the problem lay. She was a queen of silent drama, a goddess who lived in extravagant sets and elaborate gowns. But in a world suddenly hungry for realism, for snappy dialogue, for modern rhythms, Gloria seemed like a relic of the past. And Hollywood, cruel as ever, didn't hesitate. Studios turned their eyes to new faces, fresh voices, the new generation. Gloria Swanson, once untouchable, found herself on uncertain ground. And then came mistakes, bad investments, films that flopped, roles that didn't fit. One year, she was a goddess. The next, she was fighting for relevance. Can you imagine it? To stand on the mountaintop, adored by millions, and then watch as the world shifts beneath your feet and the applause moves on to someone else? Gloria felt it all. The worry, the frustration, the humiliation of being called washed up while still young. But here's where her story becomes extraordinary. Most stars would have faded, retreated, accepted the curtain call. Not Gloria. She wasn't finished, not by a long shot. For years, she searched, reinvented herself. She worked in radio, in theater. She tried business ventures. She lived boldly, married more than once, and lived a life most couldn't even dream of. Still, Hollywood kept whispering, "You're done." But Gloria had one final card to play. One role that would turn her name into legend forever. And when it came, it was a role so daring, so shocking, so perfectly cruel in its irony that it felt like destiny itself had written it. Her name would be Norma Desmond. The year was 1950. Hollywood had changed. The silent era was a memory. A new generation of stars, Marilyn Monroe, Marlon Brando, Elizabeth Taylor, were the faces on billboards now. Gloria Swanson was 51 years old. By Hollywood's cruel arithmetic, that meant she was already finished. But destiny has a wicked sense of humor. Because the role that would define her, that would carve her name into the very granite of film history, was the role of a forgotten silent film star. Her name was Norma Desmond. Billy Wilder, one of Hollywood's sharpest directors, had written Sunset Boulevard, a noir masterpiece about an aging actress trapped in her mansion, clinging desperately to the memory of her stardom. It was risky, dangerous even. Who in Hollywood would dare play a woman the world had cast aside? There was only one answer: Gloria Swanson. At first, even Gloria hesitated. Was this too close to home? Was Hollywood asking her to play a caricature of herself? But then she read the script. The words burned on the page. The story was electric. And Gloria knew this was it. This was her moment. She stepped into Norma Desmond like a second skin. She didn't just play her, she became her. The mannerisms, the haunted eyes, the desperate hunger for recognition. It was terrifying. It was heartbreaking. It was brilliant. And then came the line. On that grand staircase, eyes blazing, voice trembling with delusion and triumph, she whispered the words that would echo for eternity. I am big. It's the pictures that got small. Goosebumps, every time. Audiences were stunned. Critics were shaken. Hollywood gasped. Gloria Swanson was back, and she wasn't just good, she was immortal. Her performance in Sunset Boulevard wasn't just a comeback, it was a resurrection. She earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, standing shoulder to shoulder with legends once more. But beyond awards, beyond reviews, something more profound happened. Norma Desmond became a symbol. The aging star clinging to the shadows of her past, the cruelty of an industry that worships youth and discards its pioneers. And Gloria, by daring to embody that tragedy, became eternal. Audiences wept for Norma, but deep down, they were applauding Gloria for her courage, her audacity, her refusal to disappear quietly. Hollywood had tried to forget her, but Gloria Swanson reminded them all, legends never die. Norma Desmond may have been a tragic figure, but Gloria Swanson, she was victorious. After Sunset Boulevard, Gloria Swanson stood once again at the summit of Hollywood. She had faced the abyss and conquered it. But unlike Norma Desmond, who lived in a gilded prison of her own illusions, Gloria Swanson refused to become a ghost of her past. She didn't fade away. She reinvented herself. In the years that followed, Gloria explored television, stage, even radio. She gave interviews, lectured, painted, wrote. She was bold enough to embrace new worlds when many of her peers clung desperately to the old. And while Hollywood moved on to its new obsessions, Gloria carried herself with poise, never bitter, never begging. She had already won the battle that mattered most. Let's not forget, Gloria was never just serious drama. She was witty, sharp, a woman with a laugh that could fill a room, and a confidence that made people sit up straighter in her presence. Even late in life, she was glamorous, unapologetically so. She once said, "Never say you're old. Always say you're older." Classic Gloria. She lived into the 1980s, long enough to watch Hollywood change, again and again. From silent reels to talkies, from black and white to Technicolor, from studio gods to independent auteurs. She'd seen it all. And through it all, her name remained golden. Not because she clung to it, but because she earned it, again and again. On April 4th, 1983, Gloria Swanson passed away at the age of 84. The world mourned. Critics wrote tributes. Fans remembered. And Hollywood bowed its head to one of its fiercest queens. Gloria's legacy isn't just her films, though they are jewels of cinema history. It isn't just her style, her gowns, her iconic moments. Her legacy is survival. She taught us that stars don't just rise and fall. The true legends rise again. That even when the spotlight dims, if you have the courage, the fire, you can step back into it brighter than before. And maybe that's why Gloria Swanson's story resonates so deeply. Because
haven't we all felt it? That fear of being forgotten, that ache of being told we're finished, the quiet terror of believing our best days are behind us. But then, like Gloria, we remember. We are not finished. We are not forgotten. We are not small. Gloria Swanson, silent star, Hollywood queen, and the woman who reminded us all, I am big, it's the pictures that got small. Gloria Swanson may have left this world in 1983, but her spirit never walked off the stage. If anything, the curtain only rose higher. Today, film schools dissect her performances frame by frame. Aspiring actors study her gaze, her poise, her subtle ability to command the camera without uttering a word. Directors still reference Sunset Boulevard as one of cinema's greatest achievements, a film as alive now as it was the day it premiered. And then there's the culture. Everywhere you look, from Broadway musicals to drag performances, from film festivals to fashion runways, echoes of Gloria remain. The turban silhouette, the jeweled gowns, the fierce glance over the shoulder. She became more than an actress. She became iconography. Even those who've never watched a single silent film know her somehow. They've heard that line, repeated and parodied, whispered and shouted, sung and screamed. I am big. It's the pictures that got small. And doesn't it make you smile how one role, one moment can crystallize an entire life of artistry? But beyond the screen, beyond the quotes and costumes, Gloria Swanson left something even more valuable, a lesson. That beauty and fame may fade, but artistry does not. That careers may crumble, but courage rebuilds them. That in a world obsessed with the new, the young, the next, there is still power in being timeless. She was not afraid of reinvention, not afraid of mockery, not afraid of living life as extravagantly and unapologetically as she pleased. And maybe that's why we still whisper her name decades later. Gloria Swanson, the woman who defied endings. So the next time you feel forgotten, the next time you wonder if your story is already written, think of Gloria. Think of the little girl from Chicago who became a queen, who lost it all, and then with a single role rewrote her destiny. Her life reminds us it's never too late for a comeback, never too late for a spotlight, never too late to be big. It's been decades since Gloria Swanson last graced a set. The silent reels are tucked away in archives. The great palaces of early Hollywood have turned into museums or memories. And yet, here she is, still alive in conversation, still present in every montage about the Golden Age, still quoted in classrooms, interviews, documentaries. Why? Because Gloria's story isn't just about Hollywood, it's about us. Think about it. Haven't you felt the pressure of reinvention? The ache of being overlooked? The hunger to be seen, to matter, to take your place in the spotlight of your own life? Gloria faced it all, but she didn't surrender. She embraced change. She stumbled, yes, but she rose, and she turned what the world called an ending into her most powerful beginning. And isn't that what we all dream of? Not just to succeed, but to survive, to rise again when the world counts us out. Gentle swell, hopeful. That's why Gloria Swanson is still here, not just in the archives, not just in Sunset Boulevard, but in every person who refuses to be written off, in every soul who looks at the mirror and says, "I'm not done yet." Her life whispers across time that we are bigger than failure, bigger than silence, bigger than the small boxes others try to fit us in. Pause, then warm, almost like a confidant sharing a secret. So maybe Gloria's true role wasn't Norma Desmond. Maybe it wasn't the silent goddess of the 1920s. Maybe her truest role was as a messenger. A reminder that the spotlight is never really gone. It waits, it lingers, it shines again when you dare to step back into it. With emotion, final words. Gloria Swanson, more than a star, more than a comeback, an echo that refuses to fade. And so, the story of Gloria Swanson drifts to a close. From a little girl in Chicago to the glittering stages of Hollywood, from silent queen to forgotten exile, from fading memory to eternal icon. Her life was not a straight line. It was a dance, full of steps forward, steps back, spins and stumbles, but oh, how gracefully she kept moving. Now imagine her one last time, not on a film set, not under the hot lamps of the studio, but standing quietly in the glow of the stars, her gown shimmering like silver water, her eyes alive with that same fire that once lit up 1,000 screens. She turns, she smiles, she bows, and just like that, the curtain falls. But remember, the curtain never truly closes on legends. Their stories weave into ours. Their echoes ripple through the years. Their courage becomes our courage. So tonight, as you rest, think of Gloria. Think of her laughter, her strength, her refusal to disappear. Think of her comeback, bold and defiant, reminding the world, and reminding you, that we are always bigger than the doubts, brighter than the darkness, stronger than the silence. Sleep now, dream boldly, and carry Gloria's light with you into tomorrow. Because as long as there are dreamers, as long as there are stars in the sky, Gloria Swanson will never fade. Good night, Gloria.